Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone in between and adjacent, welcome to the Rush Rundown, what I believe is the first and only 10-minute testing ripoff for Rush Duels. Today, I would like to give you a glimpse into my dark reality. A full stare into my twisted perspective would make most simply go insane. Because today, I would like to show you the most twisted, dark, messed up version of Galaxy you've ever seen. Please behold Dark Galaxy.
Let's go gambling!
This is the part of the video where I tell you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. Yes, today we're taking a look at Dark Galaxy. And this episode was actually recommended by you, the commenters. Which, if you're not aware, you can simply leave a comment in the comment section of this video, and I will most likely make a rush rundown of said deck. Now, Dark Galaxy is a pretty interesting. It's a very aggro deck with a lot of big attack swings, but a lot of the time we are kind of risking it all on a gamble. What do I mean? Well, let's start our card by card. In the best place to start, the skill. Our skill is Void Destruction. It can be activated from turn 2 onward. If all monsters in your constructed deck are Dark Attribute Galaxy type monsters, choose one attack position normal monster in your field. This turn, that monster inflicts piercing battle damage. Then send 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. If a monster with 1600 or more attack was sent to the graveyard by this effect, you can also add one of those monsters to your hand. Now, what this does is it kind of makes this deck a bit of a let's go gambling kind of deck, where frequently we will be milling ourselves every turn, and sorry if you milled your spell traps, you just gotta deal with it, buddy. To supplement that, we are on a very high amount of monsters. Obviously, most rush decks are pretty monster heavy, but tool-wise, we are pretty much just playing staples in the spell trap lineup, except for one card. To start off, why don't we go over our forest monster here, Void-Velg Requiem. Send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. This card gains attack equal to the number of face-up dark attribute monsters in the field times 300 until the end of this turn. Then, if your opponent has a face-up light attribute monster in the field, this card gains 600 attack until the end of this turn. That second part of the effect is actually very simple to achieve if you're playing ranked right now, because, buddy, it's start of the new season as a recording, and man, is it Cyber Dragon infested. We also have Void-Velg Elysium. Send one card from your hand to the graveyard. Change one face-up monster in your opponent's field to face down defense position. This card gains voucher attack until the end of this turn. If you sent a monster to the graveyard to meet the requirement, this card cannot be destroyed by your opponent's trap card effects this turn. Much better in a different format, not one where people are playing negate attack. I would love this guy if people were more on white. We got 3 Void-Velg Cataphract. You have another face-up dark attribute monster in your field during the turn you normal summon this card. Send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. If you send a monster to the graveyard, by effect, you can add 1 level 8 Galaxy type monster from your graveyard to your hand. Cataphract is actually really cool. This is one of our best kind of like playmakers of the deck, if you want to call it that. Obviously, you need a normal monster to use your skill, but a normal monster plus Cataphract pretty much just completely sets you up. You got 3 Star Transfer. Send this face-up card from your field to the graveyard. Special summon 1 Galaxy type monster from your hand. Face up to your field. If you special summon a level 8 monster by its effect, this turn it gains 4 attack and piercing battle damage. Now this combos very well with the Void-Velg Elysium. Summon him out to the field for no tribute. And then also, now he can both flip and pierce over an opponent's monster. 2 Void-Velg Globule. Shuffle 3 Dark Attribute Galaxy type monsters from your graveyard into the deck. This turn, this face-up card can be treated as 2 tributes or to tribute summon a Galaxy attribute Galaxy type monster in attack position. We have 1 Burst Ray Blaster. Reveal 1 level 7 or higher Galaxy type monster in your hand. Inflict damage to your opponent equal to the number of face-up monsters in the field times 200. You can change 1 face-up monster on your opponent's field to light attribute until the end of this turn. Basically, if your opponent doesn't have a light monster on their side of the field for the extra effect, you just turn one of their monsters into a light. As well, the burn is actually very troublesome. For the previous format, this was very strong at Psychic, who are constantly paying themselves out, so you could put them in a position where they just don't have the right life points to do certain plays. You're kind of pigeonholing them into only doing one specific line. Next up, our normals. We have 3 Void-Velg Pale Rider. This guy is our equivalent to Trans Am Lilac. He is a 1600 normal, which leads to the combo of wanting to find Cataphract and a normal monster to hopefully mill Pale Rider off your skill, along with a tribute guy to then use the skill, add back Pale Rider, normal to Pale Rider, then use the Cataphract to add back the level 8 or higher to then tribute summon to level 8 or higher. We are on 3 Dimension Azarth, 1500, Dark Galaxy. And we are on 2 Shadow Sentinel, another 1500 Dark Galaxy. For our spell traps, we have 1 Pot of Avarice. We are milling so many cards. You definitely need this Pot of Avarice. Triple MST, 1 Void Corridor. This is a bit of a flex spot. I found I kind of needed the Void Corridor to really like get my guys back. I was constantly finding that I was just milling too many of the key important guys, so I ended up putting this Void Corridor in the deck over Talismanic Seal Array, which is another card you can play in this slot. I'm not married to only having the Corridor here. You could swap out there. We are on 1 Stars Crisis, Negate Attack, and Buffered Slime. So there are a couple flex spots in the deck. Some people don't play the 3 Star Transfer, they just play 2. I personally found finding Star Transfer more often was better for the deck overall, which is why I have the 3. Other people also played 3 Globule. I think that's pretty good too as well. So if you want to consider the 3rd Transfer or 3rd Globule as your slot here, that's also fine. Other people also don't play the First Right Blaster. He's ended up coming up so much in some situations that I considered him a little bit of a mandatory. While I was testing the deck, I was actually on 2 Transfer, 2 Globule, 3 Shadow Sentinel, because I found myself not actually finding the normal guys, but I thought that was a little egregious considering I was on 9 at the time. And I'm pretty sure 8 is fine, considering you just need to find any of them. But that's enough about the deck. Why don't we see it in action? Alright, here we are, game number 1, and our opponent is on Dragia Star F. You can see we're going first, and we don't have a great opening hand. We're just going to set a guy, tribute over it, summon the Star Transfer, and then go, alright, special summon the Void Elysium, basically reading that the opponent is on dragons. So I was figuring, well, at the very least, their Dragias won't be able to just raw swing over this. They'll have to use Dragia Star F himself if they're actually on the fusions, or use the skill to pump it up. You'll see that the opponent just ripped a Fortitude Dragon, went ahead, milled this beautiful looking Dragias off the top, put us down to 100. Dragon Inferno popped the back row, ended up paying our MST, which is fine. And you can see that milled Dragias was pretty important to them. We draw again, and it's another rough hand, but we go ahead and storm their back row, hitting a Musical Princess Recitals, use Elysium Effect, pitching Elysium, just get this guy out of our hand. Void Corridor pitching the Avarice, getting Shadow Sentinel. We just need to get guys on the board at this point, just need to keep aggro up, because if we leave too many material for the opponent, they can just start swinging in with a future Dragias. We ended up using the skill, hitting a Pale Rider, which is insane for us, so we're finally able to put aggro on this board. We go ahead and swing in. Notice the opponent doesn't have anything here with the last back row. It's most likely a spell that just got set, so they could draw more this turn. But we are pretty much in a very commanding position for this game. And you can see we have in our back row, we have both Buffered Slime and Negate Attack, pretty much insulating us from pretty much anything they can do. We go ahead and use their skill, add the dragon, set a whole bunch of cards, tribute summon the Star Dragon. Pretty rough, they already used the skill, so all they can do is use Star Dragon to lower our guy down. But we have the Negate Attack, like I said. The 2 back row is pretty worrying. We'll just see what we draw here. And it's all active. Alright, one quick seamless jump cut later. Match. Go ahead and add Void Elysium. Tribute 2, we're going to summon out that Requiem we just added. Summon the Globule. Put 3 back. Tribute the Globule. With a second Requiem. And we're pretty much just hoping the opponent has nothing here. But our back row is pretty strong that even if we can't get through this wall, that we will just be able to survive the next turn and kill them there. We swing in, notice there is no response in the slightest, and we'll just finish them off with the Requiem. Alright, here we are, game number 2, and we are certainly feeling the effects of a rank reset, because our second game is up against Cyber Dragon. Pretty hard these days to find a deck, or well, find an opponent not on Cyber Dragon after a rank reset. Anyway, we opened an insane hand, double Pale Rider, Cataphract, Universal Storm, and Negate Attack. So we are just ultimately big chilling. We also see the opponent tribute summon one of their Cyber Dragons for some reason over an Aim Eagle. So we are just like to the moon saying, oh my god, the opponent is not playing Negate Attack. They go ahead and start swinging with a Cyber Dragon, don't even bother trying to make a fusion, and we completely smoked them with Negate Attack. We're just going to switch all guys to attack position, storm the back row, and we're just maybe be able to go for lethal here. Activate our skill, mill a whole bunch, and Elysium to hand. Summon a Star Transfer effect. We summon out Void-Fri Requiem. Corridor, add back a Pale Rider. The Star Transfer, I'm sorry. Summon another Void-Fri Elysium. Elysium, in fact, pitching that last Pale Rider, flipping that guy down. We can deal piercing damage, pump up our Requiem to 4,400. Pierce over for 1k, swing over for 23, and swing over once again for 1,300, leaving the opponent very close to dead. Now, obviously, they could crack back with a Cyber Twin Dragon play or something along those lines, but we are so chilling knowing that they have 2 Cyber Dragons in the graveyard. Of course, they would need to open something like Cyber Injury exactly to get a Cyber Dragon out for free. Go ahead and they tribute that special summon side draw for Cyber Assault. Cyber Assault, put back, pop our Requiem, and they set a whole bunch of cards. We are unbelievably happy with this situation. Not only do we not have to look at a Cyber Twin Dragon, but we just need to draw pretty much anything to get us to a big monster to completely break this. And that would do it. We open a Universal Storm. We'll go ahead and use Storm the back row. We hit a Barrage of Steel, that's whatever, Cataphract, mill, add back the Requiem, summon Globule, put back a whole bunch of guys, and we get ready to start tributing. Go ahead and tribute that for Star Transfer. At this point, we're thinking that the opponent probably has relevant back row, so we actually just use Globule just for the effect of putting things back, and not actually for the double tribute effect. Go Requiem, just make him huge. Obviously, we're kind of stuck with Cataphract, but did not matter, because the opponent's last back row was nothing, and we win the match on the spot. Alright, here we are, game number 3, and you know what that means. A 1v1 versus Cyber Dragon. Yes, I know I did just show you a Cyber Dragon game. Like I said during game 2, we're only going to be finding Cyber Dragons for a while. Now you can see, actually, we opened pretty similar to that last game too. If we just draw something like Indicate Attack off the top, it would be the exact same opening. No, we just find a bunch of monsters, so we're just going to set them all, set the Universal Storm in the back row, and pass. The truest of true, T sets and pass. Thankfully, we have this Pale Rider that we can keep in our hand for next turn, so we can have a big piercing monster for that. They go ahead and leave Ultracorn, setting our Storm to basically just be frozen in place, summon a Proto, and then Cyber Search with no target, so they're just kind of like swinging at our board. They swing in with the 1000 Crafter Drone, which, big mistake, buddy, you just crashed in and took 300 for no reason, and now we have an extra material on board. As well, we can just use this Globule for its effect. Go ahead and use Void Destruction, milling a whole bunch of cards, hitting a Star Transfer, insane, tribute summoning the Star Transfer, and Star Transfer effect, to summon a Void-Fri Elysium. Then we go Globule, put 3 back. We definitely want to put that Star Transfer back for later, as well as Cataphract. Tribute it off, summon the second Void-Fri Elysium, and would you look at that, we have one more monster in the hand, so we can use Void-Fri Elysium to pitch the card. Now basically just playing around any kind of like widespread or anything like that by having one bigger Elysium to get popped while we can still swing over the rest of the board. So we just go ahead and wipe everything, putting him down to 2,000 life, and we are once again big chilling. Our back row is still just the one Universal Storm, which is just chilling. They go ahead and use Tribute to the Doom, popping one of our Elysiums, then they go ahead and barrage our set Storm, which is whatever. They must really hate that Universal Storm, I'll be real. Talismanic Seal Ray puts down our other Void-Fri Elysium, and they just go ahead and swing into our board, hitting over for 600 and hitting over for 1,000 there. We could not be in a better position in this game. The opponent has not been able to establish a Cyber Twin Dragon, they have not been able to establish an Ancient Gear Golem, and they have not established any back row. Now, this hand is a little worrying. Thankfully, we have Globule here to kind of help us, but this was almost a catastrophic failure of an opening. We're going to go ahead and summon Star Transfer effect, summon a Void-Fri Requiem, and then tribute over the Globule for the other Void-Fri Requiem, and then we're just going to go right into Requiem effect and Requiem effect to kill the opponent. Another clean game where we thankfully did not just brick and die or mill ourselves to death. Let's talk a little bit more about that in the final thoughts. So we're back with the deck, and I have a couple comments to make. A bit of the pros and cons, if you will. So let's just start with the cons. First of all, if you end up stuck in a grind game, you are very likely to lose to deck out. If you just absolutely cannot establish anything at all, or everything you establish gets broken, you're going to have to rely heavily on your skill, and that leaves you prone to just completely decking out. As well, I said at the top, this deck is very, very gamble heavy. The skills, it's just random mills. The Cataphract is just a random mill. You just gotta hit the right cards, which could be difficult. As well, we are playing a lot of tribute guys. Frequently, we end up with hands, like you saw in that game 3, that only have those tribute guys. Of course, thankfully, we had the fix for that, one of which is Void Corridor. As well, like I said, with the random mill, frequently, you just mill your spell. I found it very hard to win some games on ranked with this deck because I just end up milling my spell traps off the Void Destruction skill. The pros. These monsters are really strong, like, oh my god. So, it's like this big beat stick turbo, you know? You're just putting up these big guys with big number, and then the opponent has to have answer for their big number to do anything. As well, once you kind of get the deck started, the random mills don't become so random anymore. Yes, of course, it's going to be a little hard to hit Void Destruction every single turn, but once you're already kind of playing the deck, Cataphract becomes almost a guarantee to hit, especially when you're pot of aversing just the monsters back, or using Globule to put just the monsters back. So you're spending your spell trap, but you're pretty much making sure every mill's a hit. Of course, you have to get to that point and survive to that point, but is pretty good there. Also, like I said, these guys get pretty big. They're big in their own right. 2,500 is pretty huge, basically forcing a person who doesn't have the Dragios skill available to them to crash their Dragios, or to force a Cyber Dragon player to buff a Cyber Dragon, and then at that point they can only use the Cyber Dragon to swing in, or they have to go Cyber Twin to get over, or they have to go Search, or have to go Assault, basically forcing them to use their big guys on your big monsters and not being able to take advantage of your smaller guys, like Pale Rider, like Ezar, like Sentinel, like Globule. As well, we don't really lose too hard to any of the meta back row outside of negate attack. Sure, Slime's still a problem. We are level 8 or lowers, but to be real, we're still clearing the opponent's board with that. We're also not specialing a whole lot outside of Trancer, or not at all really. So we don't really lose to Rice Terrace, which is popping up in every deck now. And there's also so many power spells like Avarice, Talismanic Seal Ray that we can play in the deck to make our plays stronger and our attacks go harder. Honestly, with all that said, I had a lot of fun playing the deck when it hits. That's pretty much all I have to say. But as we sign off here, I'd like to remind everyone once again, if there is a deck you would like to see me feature on this series, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. And while you're down there, you can say, oh, I like this part of the deck, I like that part of the deck, or you should change this card to this, or you can change that card to that. That's the kind of comments you can leave down there. As well, while you're down there, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time on the next Rush Rundown. Goodbye.